Hi everyone. So this is going to be a pretty simple, just like check-in of me touching base with my collection. Past like couple weeks, I have felt that my collection has been feeling a little cluttered and not really knowing like what products to use. So every time I start feeling that way, I like to take just a little bit of time to go through all my products and make sure that I absolutely love everything that I own and that I am giving them enough attention. Granted, the time of the year and the season and like what my skin's like at the time does factor in, but yeah. So this could potentially be a declutter video slash just me recognizing what I'm using and what I'm not using. I'm not really sure where this video is headed, but I want to start with my blushes. So this is the drawer that I keep my blushes in on my vanity, and I think that I just want to kind of take it apart and see like what I'm using all the time and like what I could potentially be giving more attention to in the future. But yeah, let's just kind of take it apart here. So I opened up all the ones that kind of had like lids, so, oh, except for this one. Oop. So we could kind of see like what I'm working with here. So I definitely have a type. You see, it's like that nudie, bronzy beige. Sometimes it leans terracotta and sometimes it leans kind of rosy. It's just kind of my type. So, right off the bat, I would like to just touch base with my nude sticks. So I love all of these. I don't use Tiger Lily Queen, which is this very vibrant, you can see here, this incredibly vibrant kind of corally shade, but I do love to use it in the summertime. Very dewy, very vibrant. Just because I'm not using it right now doesn't mean I don't love it. It's just not really season appropriate currently, but I am going to be keeping it. Sweet Cheeks is kind of the cooler nude counterpart to Tiger Lily. It's also that dewy formula. This is not my favorite, but I do use it enough to justify keeping it as well. And then my two favorite blushes from Nude Sticks, which are In the Nude and Sunkissed. And for a while there, these are my all-time favorite blushes and my most used. And so, yeah, I'm not going to be getting rid of any of my Nude Stick blushes. The newest blush in my collection is actually the Charlotte Tilbury Cheeky Blush Stick in the shade Playground. It's this beautiful terracotta nude, and I really, really love it, and I can't wait to be using this more. But yeah, this is very, very lovely. I've waited a long time to buy this, and I'm so happy that it's in my collection currently. So I think I've only used it 3 times, so this is definitely not going anywhere because I love it so much. There's Laura Mercier Fresco. This is, I think, one of my favorite powder blushes of all time. It's this beautiful shimmery nude, and it's so neutral, so just, I don't want to say basic, but it's actually just one of my favorite blushes ever, and I do use it. Whoa, somebody's like drag racing down my street. I do use it a lot. So yeah, we are going to be keeping that as well. A new blush in my collection is the Charlotte Tilbury Cheek to Chic blush in the shade The Climax. I'm kind of having a love affair with this blush. I just think that it's such a beautiful rosy brown, and it has this very ethereal glow to it with almost like in this light you can kind of see the shimmer. I'm not sure if you can pick it up on camera, but in real life you can kind of see a little bit of shimmer in there, but it doesn't transfer onto the face at all. Your skin just looks very, very ethereal, very, very glowy. It's just an excellent product, and I feel like people kind of haven't really been talking about her powder blushes all that much, but I do feel like they're super underrated and they're so lovely and formulated very like cosmetically elegant. They're cosmetically elegant product formulated in a very lovely way. So yeah, this is a new love of mine and I'm excited to just keep on using it. She's quite the gem. This is my most expensive blush in my collection. This is the Tom Ford Peach Poison, and it is very pigmented. I think this is one of the most pigmented blushes I've ever used. You have to use a very delicate hand with this, and I feel like I'm kind of heavy-handed with powders, which is why I tend to prefer creams because I think I can control how much goes on my face, which, you know, out loud it doesn't make sense, but you know, everyone's different. Anyways, so this, I didn't realize how much I would actually love this. The first few times that I used this, I was just kind of like, I don't know if this is for me. Like, that was a lot of money and like blah, blah, blah. But the more I got to know it, the more I really fell in love with it. I do prefer the darker side, but when it gets warmer out, I do want to use the peach side more because I do like peach in the summer as just like kind of like a pop of color. But the darker side right now is such a beautiful, like bronzy, peachy shade. And yeah, I really love this product. Is it worth the money? No. I don't think any piece of makeup is actually worth that much money. You're just paying for the luxury packaging and the Tom Ford name. Tom Ford does come out with some pretty beautiful shades. I will give him that, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna buy any other Tom Ford blushes because it's just, you know, it's so much money, and I feel like I bought it just to say that I had one, but I do enjoy this blush a lot, so yes, I will be keeping this and getting my money's worth. These Rose Ink blushes, I have the shade Foxglove and the shade Daylily. Oh, did I just put my finger in that? Are some of my favorite blushes. I will not be getting rid of them. They're just so creamy and elegant, and I just love them. They're just such beautifully formulated blushes, and I hope she comes out with kind of a more interesting shade range. She did have like her original, I don't know how many, came out with some more shades this year, and you know, they're all really lovely. They're all very like pink nude base, as I feel like most of the Rose Ink line is. It's very like nude and pink, and the color stories are very like Charlotte Tilbury-esque, I guess I should say. So I am really interested in different like shade stories that Rose Ink is going to be coming out with, because I feel like a lot of their products are really beautiful, and that they could expand on more interesting color stories in the future, or even like extend the shades that they have to not be so alike. I feel like even though that Daylily and Foxglove are very different colors, there's these little nuances in them. I guess they're very similar. I guess I should say that Daylily and Foxglove are very similar shades, but there are like these little nuances in them. Like Foxglove has a lot more like, it's darker and it has more like terracotta and stuff in it. But Daylily was actually the one that was advertised as terracotta, but I do feel like it's a little more cool tone. So I would like to see one that has a lot of brown in it. I would like to see something that's basically like the cream version of the Hourglass Brilliant Nude. Like, I think that would be a really cool shade. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Rose Ink does, but it doesn't make me like these any less. These are two of my favorite blushes ever, but I would say that I'm really interested to see where Rose Ink goes. But yes, I will be keeping these. A little note of the Hourglass Ambient Bronzer. This is the shade Brilliant Nude. This is one of my top blushes of all time. I think this is such a beautiful, stunning blush, and yes, I will be keeping it. Like, I don't need to talk your ear off about it. I feel like if you've been watching my channel in any capacity, you know that how much I love this blush. Fairly old. And I'm very conflicted about it because I do think that this is such a lovely I do think that this is such a lovely formula. I think it was very innovative when at the time that it was created, and it's kind of like one of those things where I'm like an OG fan of this, and I think that it sinks into the skin still like better than a lot of cream blushes that I have tried. Um, and it is getting up there, and so I'm thinking of like trying to focus on this one in the upcoming year, just to try to use it up because it is getting pretty old, and I just don't want it to get so old that it just, you know, sits there and it's not used. So I do want to keep this, and I kind of want to like focus on this in the upcoming year and try and use it up. And which is, I know it's going to be really hard to do. There's a lot of product in here, and a little bit of this product goes a really long way. So it is like worth the money to buy if this is like, you know, if you can tolerate this packaging basically. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to be keeping the Glossier Cloud Paint in the shade Dusk. I think this is such a beautiful, like, kind of terracotta nude. It's very warm, very beautiful. And you can make it skin-like, and you can make it glowy. It mixes in with like highlighters really beautifully. It's super versatile, and it always looks very natural. And I love this blush a lot, and I want to use it more, is what I'm saying. Another new one. This is the Rowan Beauty blush in the shade Natural Rose, and this is so lovely. I like this a lot more than I initially expected to. It's very, very dewy, but it lasts a really long time. It doesn't, the color doesn't just like dissipate into thin air. Like my skin doesn't eat it up. And I don't think people really talk about this blush formula all that much from Rowan, and I don't really understand why. Like, there's not a lot of colors, but they are vibrant enough and they are fun enough that I don't understand why people don't have like any interest in them. But I think this is super lovely, and yeah, I'm gonna be keeping it. It's a nice cool toned rose color, and I don't have a lot of cool tone blushes in my repertoire. This is a lovely addition to my collection that I made this year. I think that the color is actually pretty similar to the, I'm actually gonna flip this because the light is reflecting off of it so much. I think this is actually pretty similar to, let me see, the Sweet Cheeks by Nude Sticks. Oh, Sweet Cheeks seems to have a lot more pink in it, but very similar vibe, very similar vibe. I actually think I prefer the Rowan to the Sweet Cheeks, but they're different enough to justify keeping both. So that was the test with that. Into the nitty gritty here. So I have this little baby mini of Dolce Vita by NARS. And this is this kind of, is it kind of a mauve? Oh, I'm not sure. But this isn't really a color that I normally go for. I think this was like in the birthday whatever. There was like a birthday gift from Sephora, you know, those little things you can like redeem. And I don't hate this color. And I've actually never worn this on my cheeks, and I'm really interested to see if I will like it. And literally the only reason that I'm keeping it is because I want to say that I used it at least once before I give it to someone. And who knows, I may like actually really like it, because it doesn't seem to have the same formula as NARS Orgasm. And if you watched either of my declutter videos, you may already know that I decluttered my NARS Orgasm blush because I just thought it was too glittery. I don't really like peach shades on me all that much. And this is not peach, and it is not glittery, so it just seems like it's a whole different vibe, and I genuinely want to give it a chance, because people have always raved about the NARS blushes, and Orgasm just put kind of like a bad taste in my mouth. So I really want to like actually say that I love a NARS blush. You get it. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna give it a chance. Okay, these last two are just like, it's really rough for me. So I'll start with the Merit. So the Merit puts me in kind of like a rock and a hard place, because I am considering the Merit blush a fail for 2022. I had really high hopes for this blush. It's literally like, out of all of my blushes, like color wise, it's my favorite color. Like it's described as a terracotta nude. It's very dewy. It's very beautiful. It makes the skin feel absolutely wonderful, but it just disappears like within an hour. And I feel like it's like a waste of time for me to use this product as my initial blush. That being said, I don't want to just like give it up because I do enjoy the way this blush looks on my face so much. So what I've been doing lately is using this as like my touch-up blush. So say, actually a good example is just the other day, like I did my makeup in the morning before I went to work, and you know, it's like 10 hours of me wearing makeup, and then I had somewhere to be. I had my friends, kind of like a birthday gathering at a bar in the neighborhood that I live in, and so I didn't want to like redo my makeup and wash my face and do like a whole thing, and so literally all I did was just put this on my cheeks where like my other cream products were kind of like, you know, wearing down throughout the day because of, you know, just wearing makeup. That's what it does. And this is thin enough that it didn't really disturb my base that it was already there. It didn't look like, it just looked lovely. And I think that's what I'm going to be keeping this blush for, is like, I consider it a fail for, in general, but I do deem this worth keeping because I do like to touch up with it and that it performs lovely in that way. I don't really recommend this blush, and I don't really see myself ever purchasing any other cheek products from Merit again because of that reason. So yeah, this is gonna be my only like Merit cheek product I'll probably ever use, but I'm happy that I found a solution for my problem with this blush, because it was such a disappointment. Like I had really high hopes for it. It's Tropic Equinox, so this is a blush and highlighter duo. I think I'm going to declutter this, or I'm gonna like gift it to someone, one of the two. So if like my sister or a couple of my friends don't want this blush, I will just toss it, because it is about a year old, and it's just, how do I put it? It's so sticky. And I don't mind a dewy emollient formula that leaves a tackiness to the skin. But this type of tackiness doesn't feel nice. Like it feels gooey and sticky, and not even in like a nourishing way. The color lasts a pretty okay amount of time. The highlight is lovely. Like it looks really nice on the face, but it feels heavy. Like it doesn't feel good. And that's like the biggest thing with me with makeup. I don't care if it's high maintenance. I don't care if it's like tacky, if my hair sticks to it, like etc. Like I do like a very like emollient, dewy look. Like I like to look like a glazed donut. Like that is my overall complexion kind of preference. And I think that's pretty clear with the amount of cream blushes that I have that are known for their dewy formulas. However, there is this texture to this blush and how it feels on the face. Like it's like I can feel it on my face at all times, and I just really don't like it. I've tried it so many different ways. I've tried it with a brush, I've tried it with my sponge, and I've tried it with my fingers, and it just, every single time it has the same feeling, and I don't feel like I can shear it out or like absorb that tackiness enough, and my skin just feels really dirty and gross when I wear this. And so I've held on to it, and I've tried to like use it up a little bit more, like try to use it as like a product for like makeup reels and like TikToks and stuff like that. And I just, unfortunately, like this, you know, it kind of bums me out, man. Like it's so sticky, like it, and in a very gross way. So that's the way I can really articulate it. So I'm going to be getting rid of this. Yeah, that makes me feel really good. So I'm just gonna like And those are the blushes. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to highlight. So I'm just gonna start with just the one on top. So this is the ColourPop highlight stick in the shade Earth. I honestly don't remember the last time I grabbed this. So I'm gonna put this over here in like the maybe. What's under it? So this is a definite keep. I love the Charlotte Tilbury. What is this? The Hollywood Light Wand? Beauty Light Wand? Yeah. It's just, I have this in the shade Spotlight. It's, you know, not my favorite packaging, but I think that this product is absolutely stellar. And yeah, this is a definite keep. NARS Fort de France. This is actually in one of my Shop My Stashes for me to try and develop a relationship with a product that I was either unsure about or I haven't picked up in a really long time. And I was really successful with this. I developed a relationship with it and I actually really love it now. And I figured out a way to use it in a way that works best for me. So yes, I will be keeping this highlight. A newer highlight in my collection is the Rose Ink highlight in the shade Prismatic. I hear a lot of mixed reviews on this, and I can understand why. It's texturally kind of strange. Like, it's kind of grainy, and it's not very, like, blinding. It's pretty, subtle. It's, you know, it's, I feel like this is a product that you either like it or you don't. And I personally really like it. I think it's pretty unique. Even though it has like this, it's kind of like a mix between like a cream and a powder. It's kind of confusing. But I think that's why I like it. I like that it doesn't make my face feel tacky, but it still gives me kind of like a subtle lit within glow without having to use a liquid. So yeah, that's why I really like it. And I kind of lean more towards like, you know, like the kind of like not peachy, but kind of warm champagne-esque like Becca Opal, you know? Like I like that kind of vibe color-wise, or West Atelier Nectar is a good example for like a color that I go for with my highlighter. But this is one of the few like straight up like warm kind of gold shifting highlights that I have, and I think it's really lovely and it works really well with like cream products and it works really well on top of powder products or underneath. That this is, it performs well for what I want it to do, but I do understand why some people aren't really into it, but I'm into it, so I'm gonna keep it. With that said, the West Atelier is an obvious keep. I think this is a very beautiful luxe product. It's very nourishing on the skin. The color is translucent without being too tacky. It's just, you know, very lovely. I haven't been using it so much lately, which, you know, I think I should change that because it is so expensive. It's very luxe, very lovely. But yeah, I will be keeping this. West Atelier products, I'm kind of torn on. Like sometimes I think, wow, this is totally worth $48. And other times I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's good, but like 48 bucks, I don't know. But anyways, I think that it's a really beautiful product and I will be keeping it. Another highlighter is the Laura Mercier Matte Baked Highlight in the shade 1. This is a very subtle highlight. It's very beautiful, very lit within. It's very elegant. I I really, really adore this highlight. I'm not gonna go on too much about it because it's a very basic, like mature highlighter. I feel like it would be really flattering on mature skin as well. So yeah, I just think that this is a very beautiful highlighter and it's one of my favorite powder highlighters I've ever used. It's Refi. Next is this Refi highlighter. I'm not gonna like squeeze it out or anything because I don't feel like having my hands all like mucky, but as you can see, it's like it's very like golden bronze, but as you blend it out, it does sheer out. But yeah, I love to mix this with cream blushes, and I think that it gives like this very like juicy wet look, but I could understand why people wouldn't like this. It does remain pretty tacky. It's not a dry down formula at all, but yeah, I like it, and I actually haven't used it in a while, so I think I'm gonna be like trying to focus on this a little bit more, because I keep telling myself, I'm like, oh, I don't have any new highlighters, but then I like remember, oh, I haven't used like at least 5 of them in the past couple months. So yeah, I can use this Ruffy one like a little bit more in the future. Little baby one here is by Hourglass, and this is one of their like ambient strobe lighting. What is it? Yeah, strobe lighting powder. And this is an incandescent strobe light. So I'm pretty conflicted on this one. So I understand, first of all, let me just clarify. I understand with Hourglass that their powders are subtle, and especially their highlighters, they made them so that it would be like a natural lit within, like light diffusing. Like I get it, like I understand. But when it says strobe in the name, I thought that it would have been like a lot more, you know, just a little bit more. And to be honest, I don't think that this is bad. I actually really enjoy it. I think that it's very like finely milled. It's very lovely. It's cosmetically elegant. But I don't really use it as a highlighter. If anything, I've been using this as like kind of a finishing powder, because it reminds me a lot of old like single pan. I don't know if MAC still makes it, but it's by MAC, and it's this single pan called Emphasize, and it was this like very light, like almost white powder that had like a pearlescent finish to it, and the way it sat under my eyes reminds me of this. So I just take a very loose like brush, and then I just dust this from underneath my eyes up until like my temple, like the whole way up, and it does the same exact effect. So essentially I feel like I just bought like a almost like a more elegant version of MAC's Emphasize, but they're saying that this is like a highlight powder. Anyways, I think this is really nice, and I want to develop a relationship with it a little bit more. But there's part of me that wishes I didn't buy this and I just bought like a full-size version of the bronzer that I bought alongside this. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna keep this and try and establish a little bit more of a relationship with it, because it is so new to my collection. But yeah, I don't really use it as a highlighter. It's very interesting. Quan, this is a very interesting product. This product is not for everyone. It's the Glass Glow Face. I have this in, oh, what is the shade I have? I have this in the shade Solar Quartz, and it's very translucent, very just juicy, gooey, ooey gooey. Not, like I said, not for everyone. It remains tacky. It feels really good on the skin, not in a sticky, gross way, the way the Kosas blush felt, but it's just, you know, it is what it is, and I don't want to get rid of it. I do want to try and like use this a little bit more, but yeah, I'm not sure if I can see myself ever using all of this up, but I do want to like at least make an effort. But it is a very lovely product, don't get me wrong, but I also understand why people would just not like this at all. So these products are very near and dear to my heart, and I'm very carefully opening this. So this is my Becca Opal, and I've repressed this I don't know how many times, and it just keeps shattering, and I just never use it. And I feel like I keep it for like sentimental reasons, and like, you know, it still exists because, you know, Becca went out of business, but Smashbox, you know, bought some of the formulas for Becca's most like popular products, and one of those products was the powder highlight. And so Opal still exists, but this is my original one. But I think I need to say goodbye. Like, I think I need to put this in the trash. Like, it's so old. Like, it's very, very old. Like, I can't even tell you how old this is. Like, I think I bought this in like maybe 2016. Maybe. Like maybe 2015. I'm not sure. Anyways, we're going to be saying goodbye. And yeah, that's gonna go over there. Here's the liquid counterpart. I used this the other day actually, And you know, I still think it's super lovely. Like, I really did like my best trying to use this up. There's nothing really wrong with it. I would say that I'm about like halfway through. Um, I just, I haven't been using it as much as I want to. And I'm having a really hard time getting rid of it. And it's just, let me just put everything back out and let me see how I feel with the thought of getting rid of it, because it just like really sucks to think about not having this anymore because I'll never have it again. So I think I'm just gonna keep it for now and try and use it up. But once this happens again, I will be decluttering it, but I'm just gonna try and keep using it just for the time being. Not very productive, but yeah, I'm gonna be keeping these, and I'm going to be getting rid of the ColourPop and the OG Becca Opal. So we will be saying goodbye to those. I don't know how I missed this, but I also own Bubbly Bebe by Nude Sticks, and it's their highlighter. This highlighter I have kind of like a love-hate relationship with. I love the way it wears on my skin. I love the way it looks, but it's not the most friendly product. Like, it doesn't play well with others sometimes. So I feel like when I use like any other nude stick product, it works beautifully, but with like a powder blush, and certain other dewy blushes, it does not play nice. It'll like pick up product and whatnot. But yeah, so I love and I dislike it as well. So but I will be keeping it. So that's where I am with that. So I got all my bronzers here, so I'm just gonna go and like grab the ones that are newest in my collection because I know that I'm going to be keeping them. The first one here is the NARS Laguna in the shade Laguna 1. I think this is so lovely. This is just, I can't really like put into words how much I love this. This color is just so beautiful. It's like the perfect like pale neutral, and I think that it really complements like being like pale but also like olive undertoned, and it's like the perfect bronzer color. It's absolutely lovely. So yeah, I'm totally keeping that. And the second one is my other newest in my collection, and this is my Victoria Beckham Beauty bronzer brick in the shade 2. I think this is lovely. It is so beautiful. Oh my god. I am sort of like dipping my toes back into powder bronzers because I feel like they're a lot better than they were just even a few years ago. This it doesn't stick to any like, you know, like dewy parts of your makeup. It plays nicely with others, I guess I should say. And it just diffuses so elegantly across the face, and the packaging is just to fucking die for. Like, look at that. Like that tortoiseshell in the mirror, like it's so lovely. It feels like an actual paperweight. Like, it's so good. But yeah, keeping that. Their new bronzer for me is this little mini that I bought just to test it out because I knew that I would be buying this, and they are similar pricing. Like, they're both almost $60. And I knew for a while that I did want to wait for a Victoria Beckham Beauty sale so I could purchase this. But this was never in my plan. This was just kind of a whim that I bought. So I bought the travel size to save a little bit of money. But I do wish that I bought the big size because this is so beautiful. The Hourglass Ambient Luminous Bronze Light. And this is the little travel size. And I think that this is such a beautiful shade. It's very glowy, very smooth. Like, it applies it in a non-patchy way. It's just absolutely stunning. And I do wish I bought the full size, but you know, it's fine. Travel sizes last a really long time. But yeah, if I ever use this up, I will purchase the actual size. And yeah, I will be keeping that. I love it so much. Mini size that I actually have gotten a lot of use out of, and I will be keeping it, but it's the NARS Laguna powder bronzer. And I can't remember how I obtained this in my life, but it's just, I've had it for a couple of years now. But oh my god. I don't know if you can see like the actual dent in the product, but I, for the longest time, have used this as like my eyeshadow. Um, I kind of like decluttered a lot of like palettes out of my life like years ago, and I was just so bored with everything that was coming out, and all I did was I used this and like my highlighter on my eyes for like the longest time. And then this year I kind of went through like an eyeshadow renaissance where I discovered the beauty of like one and done like wet looking shadows and how much I just prefer that now to an actual eyeshadow palette. But yeah, this has gotten a lot of love out of me, and it is like great for travel because it was good for the eyes and it was good to just, you know, use this as my bronzer. I do prefer this bronzer to this bronzer, however, but this is still like a go-to for me. I do love it a lot. Okay, so moving on here, I do have the Say Sun Melt. I have this in the shade medium bronze. I think this is a really lovely bronzer, and before I tried the NARS Laguna cream bronzer, this was my favorite cream bronzer. It's a very lovely color. It's very user friendly. You can make it really sheer or you can build it up. It just melts into the skin, hence the name Sun Melt, and I think that it's just a really lovely product. I love that there's no scent. But yeah, I will be keeping this. I love it so much. I'm actually, now that I'm like really like thinking about it, I'm gonna be keeping all of my bronzers because I don't have an issue with any of them. My least favorite is actually the Bondi Bay, but I don't dislike it enough to get rid of it because, I mean, you can see how much I've used of it. Like, it's like all the way down there. But when I like roll it up, like, you know, it's within like being used up because I used this a lot during the summer when I was traveling, and it was the only bronzer that I had with me. So yeah, I'm gonna keep that, and hopefully it can become an empty. And then this is the Westman Atelier contour stick. This is actually the only like actual contour I have in my collection, and this is the contour stick in the shade Biscuit. It's a nice cool toned beautiful stick formula, and once again, really luxe packaging. Yeah, and it blends out really beautifully. It's very effortless, very natural. But I do have to say, I do prefer this one. Yeah, and this is, you know, like, I think this is like $15 cheaper. So, you know, you just, not that this isn't worth it, but it's also like not worth it. You know what I mean? It's a lovely product. It's very, very beautiful, but I don't think that I would recommend spending what, like almost $50 on like a cream product. You know, it's about the experience, I guess. It's luxury beauty, so it's just heavy. Okay, so I'm gonna like review all of my lip products, but first I'm just gonna like separate them into like all-time favorites that are like absolutely not going anywhere, and then ones that I'm unsure about. So hang tight. All of these over here are my most used, very active in my makeup collection. So I have the NARS like soft matte tinted lip balm. I only have one of these because I found all the shades like very interchangeable shades of nudie browns, and so I don't see a reason to have more than the shade that I have. I have the shade Intimate. It's just, you know, everything I love in a color, nudie brown. Yeah, so I'm keeping this, obviously. And then I have a plethora of the sheer tinted lip balms by NARS as well. These are my favorite lip products of all time. I love them so much. You know, they're so sheer that it just like, it's kind of silly to have more than one, but I love them all individually for their very like nuanced differences. Some are more coral, some are more peach. My all-time favorite is the Laguna, which is the brown. But yeah, it's just, I just love them. The other ones are my Rowan lip products. So I have the shade Alba in the tinted lip oil balm. This is a very like vibrant kind of like peachy nude. It's very nourishing, very like squishy. It's very lovely. And yeah, I've used a lot of this, and I can foresee this being like an empty in my collection by the end of next year. So yeah, keeping that. And then like the best lip gloss I've ever tried ever. This is the shade Lola in the Tinted Lip Balm by Rowan, and it's just so long lasting, so lovely, and it makes your lips look amazing. I love it so, so much. The next product is a new one in my collection. It's the Victoria Beckham lipstick in the shade Girl. It's like that perfect, like, light nude beige with a little bit of brown, you know, that pinky brown nude that I love. Pretty similar, actually. Actually, let's look at them. They're very similar. Like the NARS Intimate and Victoria Beckham Beauty Girl. Very, very similar. This one is matte and this one is not. So those are the differences in formulas, but I love them equally. I truly, truly do. The packaging on this is just so like heavy and luxe and absolutely beautiful. Obsessed. Tower 28 lip jelly in the shade Chill. It's clear, and I've been using it a lot lately because I've been using it essentially as like a lip treatment because it's so nourishing and it's just like glassy. It fills in all the lines on your lips and they just look so plump and juicy and yummy. So yeah, keeping that. Next one is also relatively new in my collection. This is the Kosas Sport Hyaluronic like lip fuel or something like that. I got this in the shade Flow. It's a lot more pigmented than I thought it would be. The packaging is a little questionable. It's like this weird like deodorant packaging. And I did this in like a new to me makeup get ready with me like natural look sort of thing, and I said I would report back, and I'm happy to report that I really, really like this. I'm not really into the packaging so much, but I am into the formula. I think it's very lovely. It's actually nourishing, and it's nice that it's pigmented, and it's a nice like brownie nude shade that's super approachable and just really nice. I'm really happy with it. Then like one of my few bullet lipsticks that I actively use. I do have like a lot of bullet lipsticks in my collection actually, but they're like away, like they're like stored away, and I use them mainly for like makeup artistry purposes. Like if I have like a client or if I have like a very distinctive look that I'm trying to do, like I have a lot of MAC bullet lipsticks and a lot of Lancome and YSL lipsticks as well. But my bullet lipstick that I actively use, that I actually like have out to use, is the Charlotte Tilbury Penelope Pink. And it's just like beautiful, creamy. I think it's the Kissing formula. So it's just like creamy, but like not too creamy. I don't know. It's just very comfortable, very lovely, very pigmented. And the packaging is just very like antique grandma, like rich grandma packaging. You know what I mean? That's what I like about Charlotte Tilbury. It's just like rich grandma vibe. Like that's what I want to be. So this next one is actually a surprise because I thought that this was going to be a fail for me when I bought it. And this is the Dior lip glow. Yeah, the Dior lip glow in the shade Mahogany. And it's this, you know, it looks really dark in the tube, but it's essentially a very expensive lip balm. It goes on sheer. It's this like berry kind of reddy brown, like almost popsicle lip kind of look. And I gave it a chance. Like I actually gave it a really good chance, and I developed a relationship with it, and I want to keep it. I just love it, you know. Are my Sephora collection. The packaging is pretty cheap and chintzy, but the product inside is not. These are really affordable. They're very beautiful nude shades. I have the shades L21 and L25. L25 is a warmer nude and L21 is a cooler nude. And when they're on the lips, you can actually like tell a difference. And like them side by side, there's just like this very nuanced difference between them. I think they're very nourishing, very lovely. They're opaque. They're just really beautiful lipsticks, and I don't know how they're not talked about more. They're like 15 bucks at Sephora. Yeah, they're really good. I highly recommend these. So I totally forgot that Merit Slip was in my purse from just being out with friends the other night. This is one of my favorite lipsticks ever. It's just a sheer nudie brown. Totally, you just have a type. You get types, and you just start getting all of these different formulas of essentially the same color, but you wear them with different looks. You know what I mean? But yeah, along with the Charlotte Tilbury, this is my equally as much used, if not more. I use this more than the Charlotte Tilbury, but the Merit Lip Slick in the shade Slip. Absolutely lovely, and I will be keeping it. It was just my purse, so I just kind of forgot to include it. Okay, so here are the ones that I'm just really unsure about keeping. The first one is the Merit Lip Oil. This is in the shade Taupe. I love the shade. Like, it's absolutely beautiful, but I don't find that this is nourishing the way that other lip oils that I've tried in the past, like, make my lips feel. It's a disappointment. It's kind of like the way the Merit blush was, where this lasts like 15 minutes on my lips. Like, I don't put this on for nourishment, and I don't put this on for longevity, so why do I put it on in general? Like, that's kind of like the big question with Merit. It's like, if it's not gonna last and it's not nourishing, then what is the point? Like, that's what I just really don't understand. Part of me wants to keep it, to try and give it a chance, to try and give it, like, to establish a relationship with it if I can. So I think I'm gonna keep it just for that purpose, to like give myself like a couple of weeks, like in the new year, where like I use nothing but this to see if I remain frustrated with it, or if I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, I guess I do like this, like, I get it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this just because I just want to give it a chance, because I do love Slip so much, and I think that they're a very like beautiful pair, and I would hate to separate them. So that's also a reason too. So I'm gonna give that a chance. Next thing is this Nude Sticks magnetic lip plush paint, and I feel like I've used this only a handful of times, and I just think that it's kind of like underwhelming, and I think that the formula is a little drying on my lips. It's supposed to be safe for like the cheeks and the eyes as well, and I've used it in that way as well. But I was really underwhelmed. Like, it didn't really like make me feel like I was like, oh, what a versatile product. This is so genius. Like, it just is, and I don't really care about it. To be quite honest. So I think I'm gonna gift this to someone, because I've only used it like maybe 3 times. But I did find it kind of drying for my lips, and I just have like chronically dry lips. So it just, that anything like that, just like that type of formula, just does not work for me. This next one is by Tarte, and this is a really incredibly old product. I got this when it first, like, you can see how far down it is. I got this when the Rainforest to the Sea collection first launched. Like, that's how much is left. And this is in the shade Buff. This is super nourishing, super lovely. I love the color. I actually really enjoy the like kind of cardboard packaging. I think it's really nice. But it's really old, and it's a lot more pepperminty than I care to like have on my lips. I don't really enjoy peppermint on my lips all that much, and this is pepperminty in a very extreme way. So I just never reach for it. Like, for the longest time, I just forgot that I had this. Rowan one, where are you at? I think the Rowan one is actually like an elevated it's a lot more emollient and nourishing, and I do find it kind of like an elevated version of the Rainforest by the Sea. Yeah, like, I feel like they're very, very similar, like dupes almost. But this one, no peppermint. Yeah, this one, nope, let me do this. This one, no peppermint. This one, very peppermint. And there's like a different, like luxurious feeling to this one than this one. But yeah, they, shade wise, they're very, very similar. And this one's just old, and I don't feel any sort of attachment to it anymore. So I'm going to be saying goodbye. Next one is the Glossier Ultra Lip. So it's not that I dislike this formula. I actually really like this formula. I think it's super comfortable. It's super beautiful, but I don't like the shade I have. I never reach for it. I have the shade Villa, and it pulls so pink on me. Like, that's the thing with my skin, is like I have a lot of like green and golds in my skin, so certain things like rosy pinks just pull so like almost like Barbie pink on me. And so like I never reach for this because I don't like the way the color looks. I would much prefer if this had a lot more brown in it, but it's so like, it's so pink on me. And so I never ever use it. And I hate that I never use it because the formula is so good. So I would love to try other shades in this formula. And I've actually never tried the Generation G, and that's something I've always been curious about, is the Generation G lipstick. But the Ultra Lip is absolutely stunning. But unfortunately, I don't like the color, so I never use it. So I'm going to gift this to someone. Thing here is this cute little like holiday version of the Clinique Black Honey. And I actually used this in a like shop my stash, like trying to like get myself to use like my kind of like lip tint berry shades. And it was a success, and I really, really enjoyed using this. But something I realized is that the shade is almost, you can't really tell in this because this is a much more like sheer kind of like gelée kind of thing, and this is like a tinted lip balm. But this, they're essentially the same shade, like once they're put onto the back of your hand. I'll actually just prove it by like swatching. You see? They're the same. And if anything, like I prefer the Dior more because it actually gives nourishment. You can see the emollients on it. Not that, you know, the Black Honey by Clinique is not nourishing or anything, but the Dior one actually has like lip care in it, like soothing, like beautiful. It has a very slight peppermint to it, but like not to the point of like making, it's like a vanilla peppermint, so it's not like minty tingly or anything like that. And so I would much rather have the like elevated formula that gives me like skincare benefits and is, you know, just going to keep my lips nourished versus like just like something that's like a gelée tint. So I think I'm gonna give this away as well, and then use this one instead. So there's no sense in having both of them if I have one that actually gives your lips some type of nourishment. So yeah, that is that. So I'm going to be getting rid of these 4 things. I think that's pretty productive. I'm actually going to be tossing that one, so I'm going to be giving away 3 things. But yeah, so that gives some space for trying some new products and just giving like my collection some room to breathe. So I think I'm just gonna call it quits at this point. My complexion products are fine, and my mascaras and lip liners are fine because I don't really keep like an abundance of those, because I actually like to keep them in like a solid rotation where I'm using them a lot. So like complexion mascaras and lip liners are, you know, they're totally fine. I'm not like overwhelmed with options the way I was with mainly my blushes and my highlighters and my lip products. So I'm getting rid of, it wasn't like a huge declutter or anything, but at least sometimes you just need to like dump out your drawers and just touch your makeup to just remind yourself what you have and like why you have it and to just see how much you actually use it. But yeah, so I'm gonna end it here, and thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.